There is a moment, quiet, unsettling, and easy to dismiss, when your body realizes something your mind is still trying to explain. You feel it before you can name it, a heaviness in your chest, a sudden fatigue that makes no sense, a strange tension that appears the instant a certain person enters the room. Nothing dramatic has happened yet, but something inside you is already on alert. Your thoughts begin to scatter, your confidence dims. You tell yourself you are overthinking, that you are being too sensitive, that you should give them the benefit of the doubt. But that instinctive discomfort does not fade, it grows. And if you ignore it long enough, it begins to reshape you. Most people are taught to look for obvious danger, raised voices, visible cruelty, explosive anger. But the most destructive forces rarely announce themselves that way. They arrive quietly, wrapped in charm, familiarity, or authority. They speak calmly while destabilizing everything around them. They smile while slowly eroding your sense of reality. By the time you realize something is wrong, you are already questioning your memory, your judgment, and your worth. This is not coincidence. This is how control works when it no longer needs force. It works through confusion, exhaustion, and self-doubt. And the reason this matters is simple. If you do not recognize it early, it does not just change your relationships, it changes you. Ladies and gentlemen, listen very carefully, because what I am about to share with you is not meant to entertain you or comfort you. It is meant to wake you up. There comes a very specific moment when a person no longer simply behaves in a harmful, selfish, or toxic way. Something far more dangerous happens. They stop being a person who does harm and instead become harm itself. When a narcissist fully surrenders to darkness, when they abandon any remaining sense of conscience, empathy, or accountability, they cross a line that most people never even realize exists. At that point, cruelty is no longer accidental. It is intentional, embraced, and justified in their mind as necessary, deserved, or even righteous. Many people like to believe that evil is symbolic, dramatic, or reserved for extreme cases we read about in books or see in movies. That belief is comforting, but it is wrong. Evil is not always loud or theatrical. It is often quiet, calculated, and disturbingly patient. It works its way through people slowly, whispering excuses, offering power, and feeding on unresolved wounds and unchecked ego. Piece by piece, resistance fades. Guilt becomes annoyance, empathy becomes weakness. Eventually, there is no internal conflict left. That is when a person stops fighting what they are becoming. Narcissists are especially vulnerable to this descent because their inner world is already built on distortion, entitlement, and control rather than truth or connection. You must understand something clearly here. This is not about confidence, ambition, or someone being difficult to deal with. This is not about ordinary selfishness or emotional immaturity. This is something far darker. When a narcissist reaches the point of no return, when they finally discard the last fragments of their humanity, their behavior shifts in a way that is impossible to ignore if you know what to look for. You will see patterns that are chilling in their consistency. These are not quirks. These are not bad days. These are warning signs that something inside them has fundamentally changed, and what has taken its place does not care who gets hurt. Think carefully about this. Have you ever encountered someone who seems to drain the atmosphere the moment they enter a room, as if tension follows them like a shadow? Someone who appears energized by conflict, chaos, or the suffering of others? Someone who studies people closely, learning their weaknesses not to help them, but to exploit them with surgical precision? That is not normal dysfunction. That is not trauma acting out. That is a person who has moved beyond emotional struggle and into deliberate psychological domination. Their control feels cold, efficient, and almost mechanical because empathy is no longer part of the process. Here is the brutal truth most people refuse to accept. Once they cross that line, they do not come back. You cannot heal them with love. You cannot reason with them through logic. You cannot rescue them with patience or understanding because they do not want to be rescued. They have chosen power over connection and control over growth. If you stay, if you engage, if you believe you can outsmart or outlast them, you are putting yourself in real danger. When you see the signs, you must leave. Walk away without explaining. Protect yourself without guilt. You are not dealing with a difficult person. You are dealing with something that no longer values human life the way you do. You are not dealing with someone who simply needs understanding, patience, or emotional support. You are dealing with something far more dangerous than that. There was a time when they wore a mask and made an effort to appear decent. A time when they mimicked kindness, borrowed empathy, and rehearsed concern just well enough to convince others they were still human at heart. But that phase has ended. When a narcissist fully surrenders to darkness, they stop pretending. They no longer aim to merely wound or control. They begin to enjoy the damage itself. Pain stops being a byproduct of their actions and becomes the goal. That is the moment everything changes, and that is when the real nightmare truly begins. At first, the transformation is subtle, almost easy to dismiss. Their behavior shifts in small but unsettling ways. Arguments turn into mockery. Disagreements become humiliations. Deception evolves into deliberate psychological chaos. You notice something unsettling in their presence, a calm satisfaction when conflict erupts, and an eerie comfort when someone else is emotionally unraveling. There is a grin when sadness appears, a spark in their eyes when they succeed in crushing someone's confidence or destabilizing their sense of reality. Most people hurt others out of fear, anger, or emotional overload. These individuals hurt others because they want to, because it feeds something inside them that nothing else can reach. This is how you know it is no longer a personality flaw or emotional dysfunction. This is destruction being chosen. Pay close attention to their expression the next time they shame someone publicly, lie just to make you question your memory, or intentionally strike at someone's emotional core. Do they look remorseful? Do they hesitate or show inner conflict? Or do they look entertained? Do their eyes brighten with a twisted satisfaction as they wait to see the emotional damage unfold? That anticipation is the giveaway. When someone leans forward to observe pain they caused, you are no longer dealing with a person guided by empathy. You are dealing with someone who has willingly abandoned it. What makes this even more terrifying is that their cruelty is not selective. They do not limit it to enemies or people they dislike. They inflict it on everyone. Friends, partners, family members, and even their own children become targets. In fact, the closer someone is to them, the more powerful they feel when they break them down. Intimacy becomes a weapon. That is why nothing you do is ever enough. You can offer loyalty, love, effort, and sacrifice endlessly, and it will still fail to satisfy them. They do not want devotion, they want pain. To them, suffering is currency, and power is measured by how thoroughly they can destroy another person from the inside out. If they can confuse you, fracture your confidence, or make you doubt what is real, they feel victorious. And here is the most dangerous part of all. There is no finish line. There is no moment when they suddenly realize they have gone too far. That moment never arrives. It never exists. Once this pattern begins, it repeats endlessly. Look at their face when someone else is hurting. Notice the dark satisfaction in their eyes when they know they have caused damage. That is not stress. That is not trauma. That is not normal human behavior. If you believe they will someday feel regret or awaken with shame, you are deeply mistaken. They once hid their lies carefully. They used half-truths and elaborate stories designed to confuse you just enough to doubt yourself. Now they no longer bother. They have reached a point where reality is whatever they declare it to be in that moment. They lie constantly, effortlessly, and without fear. There is no hesitation, no guilt, no internal resistance. Truth becomes irrelevant to them because control matters more. When someone reaches this stage, words lose meaning, promises become weapons, and logic no longer applies. You are not dealing with someone who is broken and needs fixing. You are dealing with someone who has chosen destruction and no longer sees any reason to stop. And the most terrifying part of all is this: they truly believe their own lies. You can place undeniable proof right in front of them. Documents, messages, recordings, witnesses who saw everything with their own eyes, and it will not matter. They will stare at you without blinking and say it never happened. They will insist you misunderstood. They will declare that you are confused, emotional, or unstable. They say it with such calm certainty that, for a moment, you may actually doubt yourself. You may replay the memory in your mind and wonder if you imagined it. That is how deep their manipulation runs. That is how completely they have disconnected from reality. This is no longer simple dishonesty. This is the deliberate erasing of reality itself. They rewrite events as they are happening and expect everyone around them to accept the new version without question. If you resist or challenge them, that is when the attack begins. Suddenly, you are labeled as unstable. You are accused of lying. You become the problem. They twist the narrative so smoothly and so convincingly that even people who witness the truth begin to doubt what they saw. This is how control is maintained. They do not just manipulate people's emotions, they manipulate perception, memory, and truth itself, bending reality until it serves them. As they grow more confident, their lies become bolder and more extreme. They start testing limits by telling falsehoods so obvious that you assume no one could possibly believe them. But they do, or they force themselves to. Because at this stage, truth has no value anymore. Only advantage matters. They lie not just about what they have done, but about who they are. Their identity becomes fluid and artificial. One moment, they are the wounded victim, misunderstood and mistreated by everyone. The next, they are the hero or savior, flawless and selfless. They switch roles effortlessly, adopting whichever version gives them the most power. If you ever attempt to expose them, prepare yourself, because they will destroy you before they allow that to happen. They will turn people against you with frightening speed. They will paint you as the manipulator, the liar, the unstable one. And the most devastating part is that many people will believe them. By the time you speak up, they have already planted doubts, spread rumors, and rewritten the past. Their version of events has already taken root. Once that happens, changing the narrative becomes nearly impossible. You are no longer fighting a person. You are fighting a carefully constructed illusion that others are invested in believing. At first, they pretended to care. They copied emotions they did not feel. They acted out guilt, regret, and remorse like a performance. But now there is nothing left behind the mask. No hesitation, no inner conflict, no sense of right or wrong. They hurt, betray, and destroy while feeling absolutely nothing inside. Watch them closely. When most people cause harm, it weighs on them. Even if they deny it, something inside knows the truth. It disrupts their sleep. It creates doubt. But for a narcissist who has fully surrendered to darkness, that voice is gone forever. This is where the second sign becomes undeniable: the complete absence of a moral compass or fear. They feel no shame, no guilt, and no concern for consequences. If you confront them, they may stare at you with empty indifference or smirk, amused that you still believe they can feel regret. They watch you cry without discomfort. Your pain is proof of their power. Nothing restrains them anymore. They break trust, destroy reputations, and burn bridges because they want to. If hurting you benefits them, the decision is instant. To them, the world is not a place of connection. It is a battlefield where destruction equals victory. There are only winners and losers in their world, and they will do absolutely whatever it takes to ensure they never lose. When a person has no guilt, no conscience, and no heart left, nothing is off limits. Their power is no longer limited to manipulation of words or emotions. It extends to reality itself. It becomes almost surreal, as if they have learned how to bend perception, twist the truth right before your eyes, and leave you questioning everything you know. Every pause, every glance, every carefully chosen word is part of a precise strategy designed to influence and dominate those around them. The frightening part is how subtle it often begins, almost imperceptibly, before snowballing into total control. Their methods are surgical: a slight change in tone, a quiet glance, a perfectly timed pause. These are the tools they use to undermine your confidence and make you question your own instincts. They plant ideas subtly, drop hints, and create just enough doubt to make you wonder if your perspective is flawed. Once you begin questioning yourself, you lose your grip on the narrative. Now, they control the story, the space, and the energy surrounding it. When you enter a room with them, you feel it immediately. Their presence dominates, even in silence. A single glance can make someone feel worthless, while a carefully timed compliment can create false dependency. They weaponize understanding itself. They master psychological entrapment with terrifying efficiency. They break a person down piece by piece, create chaos, and then position themselves as the sole source of safety and comfort. One moment they push someone to the edge, the next moment they act as the hero who can save them. They manipulate relationships effortlessly, planting half-truths and sowing doubt so that friends become enemies and partners become rivals. All the while, they sit back, detached, observing the destruction unfold. When the chaos is complete, they reappear as the misunderstood one, the victim everyone turns to for guidance. Their strategy is flawless. While you react, they are always several steps ahead, rewriting reality as they go. They are not merely skilled manipulators. They are architects of illusion. They do not just lie, they reshape reality to fit their narrative. Once ensnared in their web, it becomes almost impossible to distinguish truth from fiction. They once pretended to have decency, morality, and respect for honesty, but now those masks are gone. Goodness, integrity, and truth are no longer relevant. They are obstacles to be mocked, undermined, or destroyed. Faith, virtue, and compassion irritate them because they expose their emptiness. Instead of striving to grow or improve, they aim to corrupt and destroy anything that reminds them of what they can never be. They attack purity and light wherever it appears, seeking to drag everything into darkness alongside them. Their disdain for accountability is absolute. They act as if they answer to no one, untouchable and omnipotent in their own mind. They test your boundaries, ridicule your beliefs, and attempt to weaken your principles. Every act of resistance you demonstrate threatens them, revealing their own fragility beneath the surface. The mask of charm falls away, leaving cold hostility aimed at anything upright or good. Their anger is not born of strength. It comes from the impossibility of controlling or destroying what resists them. Being in their presence is physically and mentally draining. The energy they carry is heavy, oppressive, and suffocating. Thoughts scatter, inner strength wanes, and a fog settles around you. This is no coincidence. It is intentional. It is real. When a person has fully handed themselves over to darkness, their presence alone becomes damaging. You feel it without needing proof. You may begin the day feeling grounded, confident, and clear, but after spending time with them, something shifts inside you. Your energy drops. Your thoughts feel scattered. You feel emotionally hollow, as if something vital has been drained away. This is not imagination. Narcissists do not rely on words alone to manipulate. They work on a deeper level. They feed on emotional reactions, tension, and inner disturbance. Chaos is nourishment to them. The more unsettled you become, the stronger they feel. Your exhaustion is not a coincidence. It is the result of sustained exposure. They surround themselves with an invisible atmosphere of negativity that disrupts peace wherever they go. In their presence, clarity fades and nothing feels stable. Conversations feel heavy. Silence feels uncomfortable. Even neutral moments carry tension. This environment is carefully cultivated. The more emotionally tired you become, the easier you are to influence. The weaker your boundaries feel, the harder it is to stand up for yourself or walk away. That is why interactions with them feel like battles rather than conversations. Every exchange leaves you questioning yourself, replaying words, and doubting what you once knew for certain. They want you disoriented because confusion keeps you dependent and easier to control. If you gather the courage to confront them or hold them accountable, watch how quickly the focus shifts. They do not self-reflect. They do not acknowledge harm. Instead, they redirect everything back onto you. You are suddenly labeled negative, sensitive, dramatic, or unstable. They accuse you of causing the very chaos they created. Before you realize what is happening, you are defending yourself, explaining your pain, and burning even more energy trying to justify reality. This is why being around them never feels calm. No amount of effort fixes the relationship because peace was never the goal. Control was. Exhaustion is their leverage, and they protect it fiercely. The longer you remain in this dynamic, the harder it becomes to think clearly. Emotional fatigue clouds judgment. Self-doubt replaces instinct. What once felt obvious becomes confusing. Leaving starts to feel overwhelming, even impossible. But here is the truth you must remember. You do not owe them your energy. You do not owe them your time, your patience, or your repeated forgiveness. You are not required to explain yourself endlessly or keep repairing what they intentionally damage. The only way to win this game is to stop participating in it. The only real protection is recognizing the weight they place on your mind and spirit and choosing to release it. When you finally walk away, something powerful begins to happen. At first, it feels unfamiliar, almost unsettling, because peace may have been absent for so long. But slowly, the exhaustion lifts. The fog clears. Your thoughts return to you. Your inner strength begins to rebuild. You start trusting yourself again. The constant tension dissolves, and your nervous system finally rests. For the first time in a long while, you feel grounded in your own body and mind. You remember who you were before everything felt heavy, and in that moment, you realize the truth. You were never weak. You were simply carrying something that was never yours to hold. When you remain around someone like this for too long, the damage does not stay on the surface. It sinks into your nervous system, your thought patterns, and your sense of identity. You begin anticipating their moods before they even speak. You adjust your behavior to avoid conflict. You silence your own needs to keep the peace, even though peace never actually comes. Over time, this constant vigilance rewires you. What once felt wrong starts to feel normal. What once felt unbearable becomes familiar. This is how control deepens, not through force, but through slow erosion. You stop trusting your instincts because they have trained you to see your intuition as a flaw rather than a warning. The most dangerous part is how quietly this transformation happens. There is rarely a single moment where you realize you are losing yourself. Instead, it happens in fragments. You forget what calm feels like. You forget what safety feels like. You forget what it was like to express yourself without fear of punishment or ridicule. Your world shrinks to their reactions, their approval, and their version of reality. And the longer this continues, the harder it becomes to imagine life outside of it. That is not because you are weak. It is because prolonged exposure to psychological control creates dependency. They do not just dominate your environment, they occupy your inner world. At some point, you may notice that joy feels distant, even when they are not around. Your body remains tense. Your thoughts keep replaying old conversations. This is not failure. This is your system trying to recover from constant threat. Your mind has been trained to stay alert because danger was unpredictable. Healing begins the moment you recognize that this state is not who you are. It is something that happened to you. Distance is not cruelty, it is survival. Silence is not avoidance, it is restoration. Every step away weakens their influence and strengthens your clarity, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. As space grows, your perception starts to sharpen again. You notice how quiet feels different now, how your breathing deepens, how your thoughts slow down. You begin remembering things you once loved, values you once held, boundaries you once respected. This is your power returning, and with it comes discernment. You see patterns clearly, you recognize manipulation faster. You stop explaining yourself to people who twist your words. You stop negotiating with those who benefit from your exhaustion. This is not bitterness. This is wisdom earned through experience. Darkness only holds power in proximity. Once you step out of its reach, it loses its grip entirely. In the end, what matters most is not understanding them, diagnosing them, or finding the perfect words to explain their behavior. What matters is understanding what prolonged exposure to this darkness does to you. It steals clarity, weakens intuition, and slowly convinces you that survival is the same as living. But surviving is not living. You were never meant to exist in a constant state of tension, self-doubt, and emotional exhaustion. The fact that you sensed something was wrong, the fact that your body reacted before your mind could explain it, is proof that your inner compass still works. That awareness is not weakness. It is the beginning of freedom. Walking away does not mean you lost. It means you refused to be consumed. It means you chose truth over illusion, peace over chaos, and self-respect over endless sacrifice. Darkness thrives on proximity, confusion, and silence. The moment you create distance, it begins to starve. The moment you stop engaging, explaining, or defending yourself, their power weakens. You do not need closure from someone who thrives on distortion. You do not need validation from someone who feeds on control. Your healing does not require their acknowledgement. It only requires your decision to stop offering yourself to something that was never capable of loving you. With time and distance, something remarkable happens. Your nervous system resets. Your thoughts become your own again. You start recognizing manipulation without doubting yourself. You feel strength where there was once fear. The fog lifts, not all at once, but steadily. And one day, you realize that their presence no longer occupies your mind or your body. They shrink into what they always were, powerless without access to you. That is the final truth. Darkness cannot survive without something to drain. When you reclaim your energy, your boundaries, and your sense of self, it disappears. And what remains is clarity, peace, and the quiet certainty that you chose yourself.